Looks like the moose came and crossed the trail here. Looks like it's probably fresh tracks. I always try to be aware of that, especially when I'm hiking out in the morning. And like to let out a little shout to let them know I'm around. Hooey! And they'll do one of two things. Either ignore you or make some movement, and then you can know where they're at. But hopefully I won't run into a moose today. A commentator had made the point, possibly in jest, possibly seriously, the other day. How come no one makes a zombie movie from the perspective of the zombie? And being a devotee of the zombie genre, I know there's several movies that have done just that. And I've thought about the zombie phenomenon so much myself that I could probably give an educated discussion on this. You got to wonder why zombie movies became so popular. George Romero says he got the idea for his first zombie flick by sitting in a mall and watching people. And mind you, this is probably in what, the 60s? Was it the 50s? I think the 60s was the first big zombie movie. Day of the Dead. Is it Day of the Dead? Oh gosh, I'm gonna hear it down in the comments now. But you gotta wonder if people are subconsciously responding to the weirdness of people. I'm 52 now, and I've watched people change in my lifetime. 50 years is a very short window on time for the evolution of the human animal. And I've seen dramatic changes to where, you know, a lot of people, there's no reasoning with them. There's no discussing with them anymore. Part of why I started a nursery business was I found that was how I could find the, you know, the remnant of humanity. It's the kind of guy that comes and, you know, buys some compost worms, or a woman who comes and, you know, buys some plant starts for a garden. They tend to be a higher mental strata of society. People that usually, not always, I get some wild cards. I'll make a video on that someday, but they tend to be from the higher mental strata of society. People that I feel I could still interact with, have reasonable discussions, people I could actually like, that I want to live next to or have around me. But I see the whole zombification of people. It seems like it's happening more and more. Like I had this neighbor when I lived in Spinard. She was older and disabled, so I tried to help her out. You know, I'd take care of her yard and stuff and didn't charge her. And she just got more and more out of it. And eventually there was a deal where she wanted to cut these trees down. I was like, okay, I'll do it. Don't worry about it. I'll cut them down. I'll turn them into mushrooms and compost. And so I started on the project. Mind you, my heart was still really bad at this point, so I could do like a tree a day, right? Well, not fast enough for her, even though she's getting it done for free. So she hires this crackhead to come over and start doing it. And he immediately starts dropping trees right in my garden, you know, and this turned into like a several week-long ordeal, causing me massive chest pain, police coming and going, and there's just no reasoning with her. It's like, the guy is, you're ruining my income stream here. I was going to do it for free. And I'm just using this as an example of somebody that, you know, had no reason to act this way, but still did. And I find that common, and just like walking around, like the video the other day, a woman just drives her car straight up a snowbank. There's 2 pedals, you know, and that's too complex for her. I couldn't believe she got that kind of, you know, drive in such a short distance to jump up that snowbank. But what I'm saying is, I just see people acting weirder and weirder, and you got to wonder, it's like the zombie thing, right? Does it happen over minutes like you'd see in a zombie movie, over hours, days? Or is it something that there's something going on to where it's affecting people to where they're turning into zombies over years or maybe decades? Are there prions in the meat? That could be one thing. I started to make a video the other day on all the things I've seen happen in society between the Roundup and the plastic and just on and on. I had about 25 things, and the GoPro decided it wasn't that day, so that video didn't get made. But you gotta wonder, what's it gonna be like in 5, 10, 20 years if this keeps happening? You know, you try to call the police and they either don't respond or they show up and say there's nothing they can do. And what's it gonna be like if you're living in a big city and you're just surrounded by zombies? People that there's no reasoning with them, there's no discussing with them, there's no trying to work anything out. They just act crazier and crazier. And the Overton window will start to expand to accommodate those, to where if a zombie wants to come into your house, get in your fridge, are you allowed to stop him? You know, the door was locked and he kicked it in. He doesn't know any better. He's a zombie. You know, right now, the cost for a justified shooting in the US, justified, a guy's trying to kick in your door and you shoot him to defend your life, the life of your family, it's $100,000. People think, you know, I see in the comments like that video the other day about the guy following me at Walmart. Oh, get a concealed weapon. Yeah, just shoot everybody that follows you in a Walmart parking lot. See how that works out for you. I quit carrying a firearm because I pulled the thing out 3 times in a year, and you know, one time in just hand-to-hand combat, I put a guy in an ambulance and the cops weren't very happy with me. You know, I can just imagine actually shooting the guy versus just, you know, roughing him up. Guy had a mile-long record too. I've been up here 20 years. I've never been in court for so much as a seatbelt ticket. But, you know, I got to interact with these basic zombies who the law treats as an equal to me. And that's been a big motivation. Sorry, it's early here. And it's been a big motivation for me to figure out how I'm going to get off grid and live as far away from people as I possibly can. There's more tracks of the moose crossing the trail there. Hooey! I thought I heard something moving around. Maybe not. But I just thought I'd throw that out there. Something to think about. And I think the way society is going is going to go one of 2 ways. Don't say it's going to get fixed and it's going to be better. You're not going to vote for Trump or Biden or whomever else they throw at you and have it fixed. It's going to get worse. I'm 52. I've seen it get worse with every single election. Every presidential election, it's gotten worse. Republican, Democrat, it gets worse. Every 4 years, it just keeps getting worse. American people have got less to spend. Food costs more. Crime goes up. All right? I don't know what it's going to take to wake people up to that fact. You're not going to vote your way out of this. The best hope you can have is to try to get off grid and to be able to support yourself independent of the system. One of 2 things are going to happen. Society is either going to completely collapse, but my greater fear is that it's going to turn into this slow-moving zombification. Have you seen the movie Idiocracy? That's the way we're headed. There's no denying